So in today's video we're going to talk about coronary circulation. Okay, so this is basically the circulation which supplies the heart. So basically we have two main arteries which supplies the heart. So you have the left and the right coronary arteries. Okay, so let's start with the right coronary artery. So just a bit of introduction in terms of the course and distribution of the right coronary artery. So in terms of the origin, it originates here on the anterior aortic sinus, and then it descends within the right coronary sulcus all the way up to here on the inferior border of the right ventricle, where it makes a turn. So once it makes a turn, then its name it changes to the posterior interventricular artery. Okay, and then this is the artery which is going to anastomose with the left coronary artery. Okay, so that's all about the distribution. So we go through the branches. This is our main interest, the branches and their target area. And okay, so when we talk about the branches or the right coronary artery, we can use this mnemonic map. Okay, so we start with the marginal branch. So marginal branch, this is the one here, which you can see here. This is the marginal branch. So marginal branch as the first one. Marginal branch. Okay, so what does it supply? This is our main interest. Once we mention it, we need to know what it supplies. Okay, so the marginal branch, basically, as you can see, it supplies the surface of the inferior right ventricle, or inferior surface of the right ventricle. So we can just say surface of right ventricle. Okay, then we talk about the next one. The next one we'll talk about will be the arterial nodal branch. Okay, so this is basically the first branch of the right coronary artery. So this branch, what does it supply? This is our interest. So this branch, let me write it here so that it makes sense. Okay, so this is arterial branch. Okay, so arterial branch, so basically this one supplies the SA node. Okay, SA node in 60% cases. So, and again, this percentage they differ. In some other texts you might find they are showing, or you might find something like 67%, depending on the text you are using, but the text I was using, it was showing 60%. Okay, I was using Vishram. If you use Clinical Oriented by Keith Moore, you find it is 67%. Okay, so in 60% cases, the arterial branch, which is also called arterial nodal branch, supplies the SA node. So in about 40% cases, this branch arises from the left coronary artery. Okay, so we move to the next branch, which is the main branch, which is the posterior interventricular artery. Okay, so this one supplies couple of areas. Okay, so this is the one here, posterior interventricular artery. So this one supplies couple of parts. So we start with the interventricular septum itself. So it supplies the interventricular, I'll just abbreviate interventricular septum. Okay, so it supplies the interventricular septum. It also supplies the it also supplies the, you can see here, left and right ventricle. Okay, So it supplies right and left ventricle. Okay, don't worry about my handwriting. Then it also supplies the AV nodes. Okay, so it also supplies AV nodes. So this is what is important. On the posterior interventricular artery, it supplies the AV node in about 60% cases. And again, as I said, the percentage varies. You might find other texts using 67. Okay, so in 60% cases, it supplies the AV node, and then in about 10% of individuals, this posterior interventricular artery, it arises from the left coronary artery. Okay, so enough of the branches or the right coronary artery. Okay, so we go to the left one. So this is the left one here, the left coronary artery. So in terms of the just a bit of course and distribution, it originates here on the posterior aspect of the aortic sinus, and then it descends, and then it bifurcates here. You can see here into two. So you have the circumflex artery, and then it continues this side, or it continues to descend, and its name, once it bifurcates into two, its name changes. This was left coronary artery, so this one which is descending here to the apex, it is called anterior interventricular artery, also called left anterior descending artery. Okay, so you also have this other branch here, which is diagonal artery. So once it reaches on the apex, it makes a turn as well, and then it continues posteriorly until it anastomoses with the posterior interventricular artery. Okay, so that was the course and distribution. So we are interested in the branches and what they supply. So we have basically also talk about the three main branches of the left coronary artery. So the first one, you have already seen it. The first one, we had the circumflex artery. So the circumflex artery here, you can see here where it is originating here. It's just a branch, it just terminates. Okay, so in terms of what it supplies, basically it just supplies the left part or the marginal part. Okay, or we can say the left marginal or the left ventricle. I think it makes sense. So this part supplies the left marginal or the left ventricle. Okay, maybe I light it. So it supplies the left marginal. Let me light it here. Marginal. Okay, supply the left marginal of the left marginal of the left ventricle. The left ventricle. Okay. So this is what it supplies. Okay, this is the circumference artery. Okay, so we abbreviate it. This is circumflex artery. So the next branch here, which we have here, it is here, this same one, which is called anterior interventricular artery. So anterior interventricular artery, basically this one supplies, again, it also supplies a couple of parts, but of importance, it supplies the anterior interventricular septum. It also supplies the great part of the right and left ventricle. It also supplies the band of His. Okay, so about three parts which are supplied by the anterior interventricular artery. Okay, so then the last one, it's the diagonal artery. So the diagonal artery basically lays directly from the trunk of the left coronary artery. Okay, so enough of the branches. We go to the venous drainage. So when you talk about the venous drainage of the heart, basically we are talking about this big man here, or this big artery rather here, which is called the coronary sinus. Okay, so the coronary sinus, it is also called the principal vein of the heart. Okay, so you can see here the diagrams, not my diagram, but yeah, the diagram are important here because they attract marks. So you can just sketch a rough diagram for you to at least to make your work representable. Okay, but yeah, again, we go back. Let's go back to the branches, okay, which drain into the coronary sinus. So on the light aspect, so this side on the light aspect, so if you can see here, we have the small cardiac vein. The small cardiac vein basically accompanies the marginal branch. Okay, so the marginal branch, they are going to be accompanied by the small cardiac vein, and then the posterior one, the posterior interventricular artery, it is going to be accompanied by the middle cardiac vein, and then the anterior interventricular artery, or the left coronary artery, it is going to be accompanied by the great cardiac vein, and then the last one, which is the circumflex artery, this one, the circumflex artery is accompanied by the posterior vein, or the left cardiac ventricle. Oh, sorry, it is going to be accompanied by the posterior vein, or the left ventricle. Okay, so you also have some minor branches like oblique vein here, or the left atrium, and if you want to know, you also have another branch here. Just here, there is another branch here called the left marginal vein. Okay, so enough of the blood supply to the heart. But then there is one thing which we need to take note, which is called variation in the coronary arteries, or rather the coronary dominance. Okay, so the coronary dominance basically is about this posterior interventricular artery. Okay, so in the case where the posterior interventricular artery lays on the or originates on the right coronary artery, that person will be called the right dominance. Okay, and it's about 90% in individuals. And then in the case whereby the posterior interventricular artery lays from the left coronary artery, that person will be called the left dominance. Okay, and left dominant basically is very rare. It's just found in about 10% of individual. Okay, so that's all about the blood supply to the heart, or rather the coronary circulation. Stay tuned. See you until next time. Love you.